Today, I woke up to birds singing in harmonious melodies. The collection of colors outside my apartment were so saturated in vibrance that I almost mistook it for a slice of life anime where the male protagonist speaks like this. Kaori-chan, I hope she looks in my direction. I know I'm so pathetic. Gets the girl of his dreams. My stress and worries have miraculously disappeared, as if it were a 10-ton boulder being lifted off my shoulders. Because my friends, Indonesia has officially been eliminated from World Cup 2026 qualifiers. Last time we left off with Indonesia, they were experiencing one of the best years in recent time. This success had been pretty quick and was the result of the Federation's push to sign every second-rate duchy with 0.0001% Indonesian blood under the sun. But the thing is, you can't just naturalize a bunch of players and expect immediate results. I mean, look at China from the mid-2010s. You need a proper head coach who not only has effective tactics, but can create a culture so that everyone is on the same page and can click. And Shin Tae-yong was that man for Indonesia. He's been an absolute game changer for this whole program. And his influence became so well known to the point that you could probably put him up there with the national heroes of this nation. Because despite the head coach and his players being quite inexperienced, they were not too far off an automatic World Cup qualification spot after an incredible triumph for Saudi Arabia. And to express all their gratitude to Shin Tae-yong for this achievement, the Federation sacked him in the middle of the qualification campaign and appointed Patrick Kluivert in his place. That's right, you heard that correctly. These dumbasses threw away everything they could have possibly dreamed of for a guy who could barely beat Caribbean islands. And their reasoning for this? A language barrier. Federation President Eric Torrier stated, quote, "We see the need for a leader who is better able to implement the strategies agreed upon by the players, and who has better communication." The only player I could find who actually supported this claim was Mark fucking Clock. No, Mark, it wasn't because of a language barrier that stopped you from being called up. It was the fact that you're so dogshit that your only contribution to the national team was embarrassing it. Also, going back to that Curacao tweet, is the Indonesian Federation not aware that Curacao is also a squad of naturalized Dutch players? Which really makes me think that this whole decision was based on trying to capture higher profile Dutch players using a legend of the game's influence. And it probably had a lot to do with money, because if you've ever seen any of the Indonesian national team players' follower counts on social media, they're insane. But anyways, Patrick Kluivert's debut would be against Australia, a team that Shin Tae-yong was able to scratch a draw from. And Indonesia started well, drawing an early penalty, but it was struck against the post. They would quickly rue that missed opportunity, as with no Shin Tae-yong defensive structure anymore, the Dutch East Indies went on to be embarrassed 5-1. And just like that, Patrick Kluivert snaps away any dreams of automatic qualification. Thank you, Eric Torrier. Indonesia was at least able to secure a spot in the second chance round, but not without some troubles, as they just barely scratched by underwhelming sides like China and Bahrain. Now, before we go any further, let me quickly explain the format of the second chance round. 6 teams will be placed into 2 groups of 3. The teams in a group will play each other just once, and after all the matches are complete, first place will automatically qualify for the World Cup, while the runners-up will move on to the playoff round. Because Indonesia was the lowest in FIFA rankings, they got shafted by the draws and were placed in a group with Saudi Arabia and Iraq. It also didn't help that FIFA chose to give Saudi Arabia home field advantage basically, but you know what, in this case, thank God for corruption. Well done, FIFA. Well done, Gianni Infantino. That said, Saudi Arabia is not as strong as it once was. I mean, on top of the win Indonesia got versus them, they also drew with the Saudis away from home. But unfortunately, before these crucial qualifiers, the Dutch East Indies would be hit by multiple injuries. Sandy Walsh, who scored in the 1-1 draw with Saudi Arabia, was questionable. Marcelino Ferdinand, the architect behind Indonesia's iconic 2-0 win versus the Saudis, would miss out entirely. And Indonesia's most informed goal scorer, Ole Romani, was still recovering from a previous injury. But fear not, Indonesians, Patrick Kluivert has a plan. Mark Clock returning to the squad and starting in the midfield. However, once again, fortune would come Indonesia's way early on through a penalty, which this time is converted. Mr. President, please, cancel this tournament. It is globalist propaganda that is trying to spread communism. We do not want this in the United States of America. Thankfully, though, For me, mostly. This team is still headed by Patrick Kluivert. With the opposition realizing, oh shit, we actually got to attack, they start becoming more aggressive, and Patrick's choice of players and tactics made this team look like prime Barcelona. It was way too easy to carve through Indonesia's midfield, and eventually they conceded an equalizer just 6 minutes later. Patrick Kluivert though realized it could no longer go on like this, especially just 17 minutes into this game. So he finally decided to change things up and add a couple more players into them. I'm kidding, he didn't do shit. While Patrick was farming reaction memes, the Dutch East Indies continued to look incredibly lost, drew a silly penalty, and conceded a second with just half an hour played. Did anything change after this? Of course not! The only thing saving Indonesia from actual embarrassment was Martin Pace playing God. But even he was no match for the wave of sheer tactical genius from Language Barrier Man. Patrick then called upon things that can carry him. High-end talent. Ola Romani, who I don't even know was fully recovered from his injury yet. And to be fair, this guy did help a decent bit in shifting the momentum. Alright, Saudis, this is the second time now. We're not playing basketball. Can you please not? The wait is almost over. The Saudi World Cup in 2034 is nearly here. Imagine the parades, millions of people celebrating this 128-team tournament, limbs everywhere. But what about the visas? What about the flights? What about the hassle? What about the orgy room? Online or on arrival. Plus, visit Saudi.com. I will be partying in the streets of Riyadh because Saudi Arabia, I love you. Now Iraq, you've already beaten them trillions of times before. Please do it again. Please put an end to this once and for all. Wow. It is over. It is finally over. Indonesians, go home! Go home! I love you with all my heart, Patrick Kluivert. Whoever says Shin Tae-yong is better than you does not know what they're talking about. They don't know this sport. They should stop watching this sport. And make sure to keep playing Beckham Putra even when Marcelino is back. That is a generational star right there in the making. It's literally in his name as well. Eric Torrier, please continue to ignore your domestic league. It is working absolute wonders. I'm sure sooner than later Indonesia will qualify for a World Cup, and it's all because of you, sir. And Mark Klopp, I take everything back. You provide life to this national team. You are the leader, not Jay. You. Oh, God is so good. Not even the waters from glaciers taste as good as pure Indonesian tears. Give me them all, shower me in them, please. You know, I gotta say, Indonesia, you did all you could, you know. Congratulations on the advance to the third round trophy, and a big congratulations, this is from my heart, big congratulations on the fourth round. We almost made it trophy. Cheers to you. October 11th. Never forget. This will go down as one of the greatest hate watches of all time. It started with Holland bullying the absolute fuck out of the genocide merchants, and then I was able to see Indonesia crash and burn. Absolutely generational. You know what's crazy though? October 11th is also Shin Tae-yong's birthday. Despite Patrick Kluivert almost single-handedly destroying Dutch East Indies' dreams, he still has the job. Like, he is still employed. It's absolutely insane to me, but at the same time, it doesn't really surprise me. Because regarding every higher power in this country, it all follows the same exact pattern. They are so incredibly blatantly corrupt. The Football Association has been and continues to do this shit. The government itself is beefing with the fucking One Piece flag because the dipshits in charge are actively threatening democracy. And remember the Kanjuruhan disaster that sadly took over 135 lives? Well, 6 people were charged with negligence causing the death of someone, and the longest sentences were a measly 2 years, while 1 person was fucking released. Indonesia has a core that is still capable of going at it again, but quite honestly, they fumbled the one guy who actually had a hang of the culture. And like all classic cases of mass naturalization, the country is actively neglecting its domestic leagues. So once this core fades, all that's left are some guys named after famous legends of the sport with not even a 16th of their talent. But anyways, a massive thank you to all our members, including Janos Balas, Jeremy Sayu 7, Jeremiah Owusu Ajamang, Brazilian Fury, Django, Anazir Makalongcom, Alex Rod, Kentra Agacha, Saint Terrence, Sylvia Citrus, Rasher Enthusiast, Cheesebait, Winter Gel, Finn Likes Rugby More, Davox, The Portergeyser, Wise Orange, Polo Protos, Von Fran, Lucian Von Coyce, A Ghostly Owl, Coney Wolves, Lickstab, Matanai, Apollo, Tonkel Jas 1, Thrilling ADT 13, Los Milos, La James Braun, Vacinho, Napside, Money Cash Hose, Quantavious Pork, Lily Lover, Stewed Monk, Red Yellow, Kevin Mojica, Fuxi, MX Sand, Harry Maguire's Left Toenail, Flaquito, Kev C, Dominic Griffin, Kyler Krez, Mohammed Al Tadib, Nish, Patrick Barley, Rashford God 5, Raspberry Ale, and this one goes to Unbroken Persona. If you'd like to become a member on the channel, there'll be a link down below and up in the annotations. You can follow me on Twitter if you want, follow my Instagram if you like, follow me on Twitch. You know, I do some watch-alongs here or there, I sometimes fuck around to do other things. The World Cup draws are going to happen in December, so, you know, keep that in mind. I'll definitely do a watch-along for that. But until then, I'll see you guys.